Hello everyone, Andrew here again. Hope everyone is doing well during these difficult times. Yes, I know. I said I will have a video every 2 weeks at most. However, a couple of things have happened that affected the whole process, at least these last weeks. Especially that my internet provider has failed so much that I have not been able to stream on Twitch, having almost 98% of frame loss. I apologize for being away for so long. Even so, I have been working and recording this progress little by little, and I hope next week I could return to normality with all of this. Well, before we start, I want to thank you all for your comments in the previous video. I am really happy that you liked this format, and I hope I can make more content like this. I know this is not very important to you, but according to my YouTube statistics, only 17% of the people who follow my channel and my videos are subscribed to my channel. That means that there are 4 times more people who are not subscribed than people who is. This is why I ask you, if you like my content and want to support me and the development of my project, subscribe on the button below and press the bell so YouTube can notify you every time I upload a video. It doesn't cost anything more than a click, and you will make me very happy if you do so I can start developing a small community. Thank you very much. Again, I remind you that English is not my native language, so I apologize in advance if I made any basic mistake on this video. Well, I think it took me a while to get started, so let's go to the video. Today's video will be about enemies and hitbox, as you can see in the title. To start talking about hitbox, we cannot fail to mention the great developer or game developer Case Foreman. Part of what was achieved in this video was also thanks to his advice. Specifically, one post on Twitter called Hitbox and How to Keeping Them Fair. I will leave the link in the description so that you can see it in more detail. But to sum it up, many times in games, beyond feeling fair, it should be feeling gratifying for the player, which is why a technique that many developers use is to have different hitbox or collision box between what hurts the player and what the player can hurt an enemy. Usually being the smallest hitbox inside the enemy and the hurt box or box where you damage the enemy bigger, and it's usually outside the enemy or in the limits of the enemy sprite. This can be easily accomplished by generating 2 arrays or a 2D array containing the enemy collision coordinates and their hitbox. Thanks to my friend Clonos, I have a couple of enemy sprites to the game, including enemies that are similar to Alura 1 in the Castlevania saga. However, these have slightly more varied mechanics. So, the first thing was to import the enemy sprite without animation and generate the hitbox through arrays. This took a little while, mostly due to the player damage system and combat system, but with some small modifications I managed to implement and optimize it to check it every 1/10 of a second instead of every frame, thus making the memory usage minimal and without affecting the gameplay, so you can see the result on this clip. As you can see, the green rectangle shows where you can hit the enemy, while the red rectangle shows where the enemy can hit the player, if I can explain correctly. You can also notice in the video that the player still cannot take damage. I completely forgot that in the first day. However, for the second day, I already dedicated myself to generating a hit animation instead of it. With the new player movement system, it was made much simpler than in the previous engine, giving a little more dynamism dynamism. I don't know how to pronounce it, it's shown on the screen, but it gives a little more dynamism to the shoots, to the attacks. You can see a couple of tests that were done on the screen now, testing the reverse speed and what's the best. I really enjoyed this part. So hey, once the enemy hitbox was implemented, it was time to implement the enemy itself. Due to the lack of experience I had during the development of the previous engine, the enemies were somewhat complicated to implement. However, using a state machine in this engine, everything was made so much simpler. The idea of this enemy is a 4-state machine: sleep, wake up, wait, and attack. Inside the attack, I need the enemy to charge an attack for a couple of seconds, giving a visual sign to the player so that he does not feel so unfair or surprised. So I divided this attack state into charge and attack. The main idea is for the enemy to wake up if the player is in an area close to it, and to attack when he is inside a smaller area. Now, about attack, the idea is to generate vines that come out of the ground and attack the player if he is inside an area. This didn't present a major problem, but the only complicated thing was to check if there was floor where the vine would appear. However, it was achieved with any major complications. Now, for enemies in the game, the idea is there is at least one variation of the enemy. In the case of this enemy, the rose goes red to blue, and his attack, instead of being in an area, is direct to the player, and it's also from the floor. It's another vine, but it's just in the player's position. This version of the enemy was a little more complicated to do, because now it was necessary to check if there was floor under the player and where the vine will appear, and even if the player was jumping. So I had to do some wild cycles that check every 2 pixels below the player. Well, outside of that, the enemy follows the same pattern as his other version, however, his areas for awakening an attack are larger. Something curious about the vine is that its hitbox is not constant. What does it mean? It means that the hitbox change according to the frame of the animation. In order to not put manually the hitbox in each frame, I used a mathematical formula that calculates the size of the hitbox depending on the frame and do some magic. You can see all of this action in this following clip. Another thing that changed completely from the previous engine, and that it's a very important detail within the programming, is that the enemy and his attacks are no longer the same anymore. You see, in the previous engine, the attacks of the enemies were also enemies, and the player could hit it. However, they had defense values so high, like 9999999, that the player could never damage them. With this, we talk about vines, fireballs, rocks, and everything that was an enemy projectile or an enemy object and an enemy attack. However, in this new engine, they are separated into 3 different objects or variants: enemies, projectiles, and attacks. The enemies being the only ones that you can hit and they can take damage. The projectiles being the attacks that can be destroyed or stopped with shields. And the enemy attacks are those that cannot be stopped or destroyed and must be avoided. Although this might not seem like it, it helps enough to optimize both of the user's memory of the game and speed up the programming of the game. But hey, that's a subject that we will talk in another video. So with that, we reach the end of today's video. Before finishing the video, I want to thank you again everyone who follows and supports both the project and the channel. Remember that I am open to suggestions and opinions. If you have a better way to do what I showed, or do you feel something is missing here, leave it to the comments and I will be looking for it. Also, reminding you to subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. I also have a Twitter account from the project, it's Mainasutto, where you can see the progress and clips I show in these videos before the videos. If my internet providers allow it, I will be streaming from next week, otherwise I will be via Twitter uploading the progress. Don't forget to leave a like if you like the video, leave a comment if you want more content like this. I hope you are well at home. I'm Andrew, and I appreciate very much your support, and I still have no ending. Goodbye.